Today, Parrish and I had our very first guest on today. She is the co-host of Theater Thoughts podcast, middle school theater teacher, choreographer, and director for Front Range Theater Company, and one of our very best friends that we wanted to keep in touch with. We talked about all things theater, whether you are a theater kid or not. Please enjoy today's episode all about theater kid realness. Hi, it's Talie. Sorry I couldn't come to the phone right now. Just leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.
At the tone, please record your message.
Hey, it's Parrish. Call me back. We have a podcast to record. There she is.
Do you like that entrance?
I loved
that was
it.
a queen entrance. Thank
That
you
was
so much.
Queen shit only.
I was just waiting for my cue,
Because she's a theater girl.
And that's what she does. That is what I do. So we thought because you're a theater teacher. Yes. And we always feel like these podcasts are really hard to get into. I don't know if you feel the same way with your podcast in this way, but it's always like the first 5 minutes, it's like kind of hard to get those vocals loose and just feel loosey-goosey. And so we were like, maybe we could start with a little pre-show ritual. So could you lead us through one so we feel relaxed?
Yeah, are you talking about in terms of articulation?
Yeah, like a little warm-up.
Like a vocal warm-up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a vocal warm-up or something silly, goofy. I don't know, whatever you know best. So
absolutely. Personal favorite of mine, just because I use it to teach how we talk, which is crazy. Because I also teach public speaking. In the theater world, it makes so much sense. But to kids who are just taking a public speaking class, they're like, what do you mean warm up my voice? And
yeah.
I mean, you're finding all the parts of your mouth and locating where those sounds are being made and how we can make those more articulate and clearer. Common one that I like to use, and I always start with it, is the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, and jaw. Those are all your articulators, and those are where all of your different sounds are being made, shaped, and formed. Another one that I personally like in terms of tongue twisters, articulation, all that good stuff. I wish to wash my Irish... I fucked it up already. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. It is so hard to say.
I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. I'm pausing.
I know that's hard. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch.
Yeah.
Nope.
Or the one that I always want to teach the kids, but I can't because I teach middle school and not high school. I'm not the pheasant plucker. I'm the pheasant plucker's son, and I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucking's done. It's a flex. Being able to say that and not be the oops, I just said fuck. It's actually when you can do it correctly, flex.
Yeah. Facts.
Flex.
Dude,
Yeah.
that is so, that's impressive.
Okay,
Damn.
so the lips,
Thank
the
you
teeth,
so much.
the tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, and the jaw.
If you're really focusing on your articulators, though, you'll feel yourself saying those words and feeling that sound in that place. Right?
Okay.
When you say lips, your teeth purse,
Yeah.
right? When you say teeth, your tongue hits your teeth. When you say tip of the tongue, you feel your tongue hit the bottom of your bottom teeth. When you say roof of the mouth, if you're doing it correctly, you should feel that opening it. And then when you say jaw, obviously you have to drop your jaw to say the word jaw, right?
Okay, let's do it. Just once or twice, maybe. And if anyone's listening, maybe just do it with us because this is great.
Yeah, do it.
Again, you're going to not even be thinking about where you're saying
yeah.
those sounds, but you are. It's so cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay, here we go. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, and jaw.
And jaw. I'm gonna count us down.
Thank you so much.
3, 2, 1.
The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, and jaw.
Okay, we're done.
It was I don't know. Is it delayed for you guys? Because I went 3, 2, 1, and I was like the lip, and then you guys all were like the lips, and I was like,
I think that's something I know you do that for middle school, but I feel like that's something everyone could do every day because we're speaking so much.
Oh, 1000%.
That seems like a great exercise. It's like doing yoga, stretching your body, moving your your vocals.
Same thing, like anytime you're doing like any type of like facial massaging or
Mhm.
anything like
Ooh.
that, like you just feel like, oh, it's a muscle. I mean, your voice is a muscle. Like
Right.
you have to learn to train it.
My other thing I do, if I know I have a busy day of meetings in the morning during my walk, because normally Steve and I go get a coffee and then we walk around the building, is doing just hums and little scales, because I'm
Like
like
lip trills.
lip trills. My mouth and my mind need to both be active, and then I'll get on a meeting if I don't do it, and I'm like, yeah, sorry guys, I haven't had enough coffee and I don't know what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
So I find that to be helpful, and it's easy to do on a walk.
For the people who don't know, I mean, you got the slight intro, but Kira is one of our best friends. Like,
Yeah.
truly, if she did not have her other podcast, she would be on here with us. And so she's a middle school theater teacher, and her like whole world is theater. And so us being theater kids as well and growing up doing theater with you, we wanted you on here and to talk about a lot of that stuff.
Well, and I think it's interesting because avid listener, big fan, no surprise.
Love that.
You heard it here first.
But I was listening to your past lives episode and you guys like touched on your theater life, but definitely I think there's a lot more we could talk about there in terms of like what it's taught you and how you know, still like have that piece of you. Because, you know, I don't think anyone can ever fully recover from theater kid, whatever
Disease.
you want to call it.
Trauma.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's always going to be with you in some way, shape, or form.
Kira's
But
musical theater trauma is involving a musical theater man from high
Oh my
school.
God. Leave it out of here. Leave it out of here.
okay, but honestly, I can't say that I have like so like, you know, different trauma because every girl has tenor boy trauma from their high school theater program. So like, I'm not special, baby. Like,
Yeah,
everyone
no.
got it.
That's
Okay,
the
that is
norm.
the second time what Parrish said tenor boy. And I'm like, what are you saying?
Yes.
What is tenor? And I didn't
Tenor,
realize
like the
tenor
vocal
is
part.
like, yeah, I'm so out of it. That I didn't
It's okay.
realize. Yeah. Okay,
It's so fine.
here's what I want to ask you based on what you just
Yes.
asked, which is like, this is a dramatic question, but not really. Okay. You know, we met in middle school, all of us.
Yes. Yes.
Why would you ever choose to work with middle school kids? Is it because of the trauma we experienced as middle school theater kids?
I'm still teaching at the school and in the position that was my first job out of college. And so, like, when you're in a career that is niche, like being a theater teacher, right? Like, every school only has one. If you're lucky, your school has two. Teachers get to their school and they're there majority of their career. Like, they're like, yep, this is my program. I'm gonna like establish it and build it into what I want, and like this is gonna be my legacy. It's just something hard to break into. So like, if you find a theater position, you have to like be like, okay, like I'll take honestly anything that I can get. So I think coming out of college, I was just eager to do the thing. Like, I was just so ready and so eager to do it. And, you know, this just kind of like ended up being the one that worked. Landing in middle school, I think in my heart of hearts, I know that I could do incredible things as a high school theater teacher. I have a vast skill set that I'm just not utilizing at the middle school level, which is totally fine. I think that time and that, you know, next step in my career will come whenever the right opportunity presents itself. But I've felt really lucky to have started at the middle school level. The stakes are not as high. You're really just getting to build kids' passion for theater. See if it's their thing. See if it's not their thing, right? It's really not as big of a deal. And I think that's why it's been a great way for me to establish myself, because I've had to learn how to do everything. You know, I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the technical director, I'm the choreographer. Like, I'm wearing so many different hats and it's a lot of work, but I have learned so much doing the work. When I think back to being a middle schooler myself, the theater program and the people in that program were my home, were my community. And so I feel so lucky that I get to be that person, that I get to help those kids cultivate those relationships and those friendships. Like, we're a testament of it today, that like you can have for truly the rest of your life. Like, the fact that we've known each other like 14 years now is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Mind-boggling.
15 years, actually. Like, we've known each other more than half our lives, especially in middle school when kids are really just trying to figure themselves out. Granted, you don't figure it out in high school. You don't figure it out in college. But when you're truly shaping those early parts of your identity and or like kind of like you guys talked about last week, going through different phases of your life, having someone to provide that safe place for you to learn who you are, to explore who you are. I truly feel so blessed to get to do that every day with that specific age of kids. And I feel even more so fired up about the position that I'm in, you know, in kind of where we are in the world right now, because I know there are so many kids that love me and look up to me and need that space right now. And I do not take that lightly. Like, I am going to fight for them. I'm going to go to bat for them because they need that space so desperately.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Like, just going back, we were the kids that were spending our lunches in the theater room, and we weren't out with the rest of the kids, and that was our home. And I feel like when you're a part of that, you get that being a 12 to 13-year-old is really terrifying, and having that space and knowing that you're going to create that exact environment, if not better. So I think you're in the best line of profession, and
I agree.
those kids do not know how lucky they have it, honestly.
These kids are so lucky to have you, because if there's someone who has so much grace and understanding, it's you. And you also have to like get your shit together because we have a show to do without being like trauma forming with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like
No.
you got to scare them a little bit, but also you don't want to
just the
ruin
right
their
amount.
life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people wish they did theater because they see all of these theater kids now and they're like, I don't want to say thriving because we all have a lot of anxiety and shit, honestly, now.
True.
But we have this like ability to adapt because what theater taught us was to kind of change into these different characters and be different people. So when we're in different situations, it's a lot easier, I think, for us to play these different roles or whatever we need to. And I think other people really struggle with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I also think with rejection too, Tal, like theater kids go through the most rejection ever. And, you know, I'm sure somebody could be like, well, in sports and blah, blah, but I think theater kids on a different level, you know, especially if you make it a career, you're auditioning every damn day, waiting in line, waiting for all this stuff. And so you hear so many no's and it's like, that sucks, but I have to move on. That was a no. I have to move on. I have to get over it. And I think a lot of theater kids do have that like resilience. Is that the right word?
Resiliency? Absolutely.
Or like ability to overcome these rejections. And I think it prepares you for the real world.
Another thing that I think I've learned that has helped me from theater in other areas of my life is the ability to take and receive feedback. Is like someone's like, hey, I have some feedback about this. Would you like to hear it? And I'm like, yes, please. Like, tell me what I can do better. Like, I constantly like am hoping to learn, grow, and improve. And I think that every good theater artist should have that feeling. Like, most people should be able to take feedback really well because it is such an important piece of performing is getting that feedback. In other areas of your life, it's so easy to just be like, oh, well, like, you know, I'm just so bad at this. And then I'm not, you know, just gonna fine, whatever. I suck. But the ability to like hear it and then be like, okay, so now what can I do to improve?
And we talked about this last week a little bit, but like, I think a lot of times when you're young, and I'm wondering if you get this a lot, Kira, but like, I remember when I was younger, I was like, oh, I want to be like famous. I want to be on Broadway. Like, that's the dream when you're like in it. But I think people forget that just because you don't end up doing that doesn't mean you don't get all of the benefits that we're talking about right now. That's pretty special.
Great call out, Tal. Great call out.
Yeah. For me, theater was like the #1 class growing up. It really, I think we all feel this, like shaped who we are. But I don't, do you feel like it's appreciated as much as those other core classes in middle school? I mean, I know you said like it's really even hard to get 2 teachers in there.
I think thankfully we are living in an era where there is an emphasis on the importance of arts education. I think thanks to platforms like TikTok and movies like Wicked or whatever, we are seeing theater kid realness as a at the forefront. And it's not even like the silly cringy way, and sometimes it is, right, where you're like watching the guess that Regina George thing, but people are getting videos like that who are not even theater people, right? Or I've had this one kid in my class the last few days just keep repeating so raise your yeah, raise your yeah. And he's not a theater kid. Granted, he's in my drama class, but he's not a theater kid.
He's not a theater kid,
and so
right.
It is so interesting to me that this presence is so prevalent in our media.
Yeah, I agree.
That it is just becoming a piece of our pop culture. Granted, it has always been. It has always been a piece of our pop culture, but in the last, I would say, 5 years, it is absolutely skyrocketed. I'm not saying we've got it figured out. Everything is, perfect, amazing. But there's some really awesome work going on in our public schools in the theater world. There is some really cool stuff happening. And I would love to say that there is the same importance and emphasis placed on that as our football teams or our, basketball teams or whatever it is. I don't think we're at that point yet, but I would say that it is definitely more prevalent to be yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And if sports is your thing, sports is your thing. But if the performing arts are your thing, there are so many amazing opportunities. And I don't think people are as shy about being oh, I'm a theater kid. I do theater. I think people hear that and they're oh, that's so cool. That's really awesome. Or people are I've always wanted to do that. And you're then why don't you?
Well, and I also think kind of touching on a couple points you said, Kira, when we were growing up, our access to theater was YouTube, right? Or going in person to see it and maybe the occasional Instagram. But now with TikTok, it's so much more accessible. So you're seeing everything happen as it's happening rather than waiting weeks for someone to upload a slime tutorial of a musical on Broadway, right?
And I remember when you started talking about how we used to have to go on YouTube. I remember when my only access to shows was going to see the show and then my mom buying the CD.
You buy the CD.
And then me listening to it. Now, I can go on Spotify and I can listen to any musical I want.
I agree.
I know it's
the level
crazy.
of exposure, even in the last 15 years since, we've been in elementary and middle school and everything,
everything.
The knowledge and the access to theater has just exponentially blown up. It is just so much easier. And so even people who can't afford going to actual shows, granted, if you've never taken your kid to a live theater performance, I think you are doing your child a disservice. I think everyone at some point in your life, whether that's your thing or not, everyone needs to go learn how to be an audience member and have a theatrical experience.
But Wicked, especially with the Oscar nominations coming out today, right? 10 Oscar noms, craziness. And you're seeing, I think, the return to a movie star and a theater kid. And I am going to call out both the leads, right? I mean, almost everyone in that cast, actually. I don't even know what I'm saying. But they all originated in theater. All of them. And they've gone on and had these crazy pop star careers and great movie careers. And now you're seeing the biggest musical adaptation take over. So it'll be cool to see these kids that go see it now that are younger before they're in middle school and how that'll impact them growing up as a theater kid. But how cool is it to see these people that everyone knows, Ariana Grande was a pop star. But if you're a theater kid, she started in 13.
Right. Yeah.
And now she's leading this huge musical. The original musical that got a lot of kids into musical theater was Wicked, right?
It's so wild to me to see celebrities or even normal people posting videos of their kids in alphabet costumes, just singing to Wicked. It's as big as being a little girl and being infatuated with the Little Mermaid. And
or a little girl with Frozen.
It's wild, but it's so cool.
I will tell you this, I felt we were talking about phases last week, and I realized like I literally tried to shed my theater kid energy for so long. I felt like after high school, I'm like, it's not me. Let it go. And now all of this stuff is coming back, and theater's cool. I'm like, theater's cool
theater's
now?
cool
What?
now?
I got
I was bullied.
kids threw food at me at the lunch tables because I was performing in Annie. Like, come on.
Like, come
Get
on,
over
guys.
yourself.
Now it's not gay to be in theater?
Yeah, literally.
Shit.
God, we have some. Okay, I wanted to ask you this because we ourselves had a lot of funny music, like as middle school and high school. I think middle school is the most cringy theater core energy. Do you have like any like juicy stories that you have from like shows that have been going that you just like laugh about?
If you're going to bring up your leg, I literally talked to Tal about this yesterday.
Thinking back about the fact that like our school used to have us perform for the entire school was
What the
crazy.
That was
Do you
crazy.
do that still?
Crazy. No, God, no. I would never subject my kids to that.
Wait, that's so okay. When we did Annie, that was the most humiliating shit. We had to do that in front of everyone, and I like
That
had
was
the biggest
terrible.
crush
Hey,
on
Talie,
this kid. What
Did you know what my musical is this year?
are you doing? You're doing Annie. Wait, you already cast it, huh?
Yeah, like we're fully in it, but
Oh,
I
Jesus.
had to. It's not any secret. Annie is not my favorite show,
I
but
know.
I had to pick it because I have like 0 boys to pull from. I had so many boys last year. We're scraping the barrel. I got one boy to audition, and I said, "Congratulations, Daddy Warbucks, you booked." Like, I knew he was gonna, like, I knew I just needed one. The other ones I could cast as girls if I needed to. I just needed one boy. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be Mommy
Yeah.
Warbucks. It just doesn't work like that.
For the dog situation, Sandy.
We have like a child, like a staff
Good.
member's kid who's gonna be the dog for
Oh,
us.
cute.
I
We
didn't want
like
to.
that.
Again, I learned from the mistakes of the ones who came before me. I do not want to subject a middle schooler to the humiliation that is walking on all fours for all of your peers to see.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So-
You know,
Agreed.
I didn't
Yeah.
tell people that in the last episode when I told them I was Toto, but I competed for that role against another kid. That's fucked.
Who can
What the hell?
crawl the best?
Yeah, no. Literally, our teacher said, okay, you both have to bark. And we did our best barks. I like remember the whole thing. And I was like, this is messed up. Like, just give me the role, man. Come on.
So is it like the highlight of your life that one of your highlights in your life was a callback to be a dog?
Yeah, I would say for sure. Absolutely.
The other one that you said you thought I was gonna bring up, so might as well tell it. This is a classic story. I think anyone who's probably heard about my time in theater has probably heard this story before, but that's okay.
Probably.
There's probably new people on this platform, so hello, welcome. I've probably told this story a million times over, but it's still to this day, it's just like, yeah, damn, that would happen to me. Parrish and I were in a play together. I was a senior, he was a junior, and our characters were just like they just bantered. Like, we just got to like banter back and forth. I played this drunk woman. Her name was Bernice. Honestly, I think like that role really pushed me as an actress in such a like silly, goofy way. But like, and I mean, when I mean silly, goofy, like I mean like it was something that was challenging and fun, but like it was exciting to get to play something that pushed me in that way. This was the Friday night performance, so we still had a whole nother day to do the show. And our set, not even 2 stories. It is walls and 2 stairs.
There was 2 stairs and platform.
Just 2 stairs and a platform. Yeah, it was so easy. And Parrish and I are like running around looking for a killer because it was a murder mystery. He like runs out of the room and I'm supposed to run after him. And I go up the first step, my toe or whatever happens slips, and I just eat shit.
He ate shit
on stage
so hard, you guys.
for all to see. I ran off stage and everyone is laughing their ass off. They're literally like, oh my God, that was so funny. And then they see me like getting emotional and getting like just, I was just like so shocked, I think, by that then everyone's like, oh shit, like that was real.
I was still
she could have hurt
laughing.
herself. And I just needed like a moment. I ended up being fine. I had a massive bruise, like almost the entirety of my thigh. Like, it was crazy.
It was bad. It was so bad.
Do you think anyone noticed? Like on
No,
like as the
everyone
audience?
after, because I was drunk.
Yeah.
My character,
Right.
everyone was just like, oh my gosh, you falling was so funny. And I literally was like, thank you so much. Not intentional, but
Everyone was
you
like,
know?
great choice, Kira. And you're like, I'm in so much pain right now. And I was crying, laughing, by the way, because she came off and she was starting to get emotional. And I
Yeah.
thought she was laughing and she's like limping away. Weeks and months later, she had like a dent on her
I
thigh.
still have a tiny little dent in my thigh from where I hit the top stair.
Dude, theater kids go hard.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of live theater. Like,
Yeah.
those are the moments that, like, again, everyone who was in that show that night
Remembers
probably remembers that.
They remember that. The last show I did, I don't think you were at this one. Parrish came to see it. She Kills Monsters.
Yes.
We
Oh,
had
yeah.
it's a lot of combat. It's a shitload of
Mhm.
combat.
So much stage combat.
So
yeah.
much combat. We had this amazing stage combat teacher. She came in, she taught us so much stuff. She's like trained at NYU, like just brilliant, right? And so it's a choreography is really what stage combat is. And
Yeah.
if you
Yes.
don't do the choreography, then it doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
I got punched in the face straight up. Like it was supposed to be a punch. And usually you got like some distance, right? Like you have to keep distance, but you make it look real. You know, you got the sounds. Nope. She actually hit me. And then I freaked out. Like I actually got dizzy. Like I was like, whoa, like she
Yeah.
punched me straight in the nose.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, whoa, that was crazy. That sounded so real. I was like, it was real.
It was real.
It really hurts. I think I need ice. Yeah, people don't know. Like, it's funny because, like, as an audience member, you're like, oh, that looks awesome. Or like, Kira, that was so
Yeah.
funny when you fell. Like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? It's like,
Yeah.
no, that hurt. Like, really
That
bad.
was a fail. That was
I
real.
think I only had one painful moment, but my only
Really?
other theater moment, it was my senior show and I was on this ladder and the kid smacked the ladder and I fell and really hurt my knee. Like
Oh,
Wait,
I was
I
like, my knee's
remember this.
dislocated. I was like, my knee is dislocated.
ugh.
Yeah, that sucked. But my theater memory, my first kiss was on stage and they danced real slow in Jackson. That was my first kiss and it was in rehearsal.
With a woman.
But it was like just a peck. It wasn't even like a kiss. But I was like, our director was like, okay, now you kiss her. And I was like, how?
Have you had to do that, Kira, for shows? Is make people kiss yet? Or is that not allowed?
At the middle school level, no, I will avoid that like the plague.
Yeah.
Smart.
In the like pre-professional stuff I've done, yeah. And it's all about like just making sure that those two people are comfortable with one another, figuring out like what their level of, you know, comfortability and intimacy is with all that. But yeah, it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
My first kiss was a theater kiss too.
Yeah.
And it was a boy I found repulsive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that, like it's this buildup for something where it's like, we don't even like each other, but we have to kiss?
And we have to
Ew.
act like we like each other.
And
That's
we
the
have to
other
act
thing.
like we like each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's freaking weird.
I saw Kira bring her drink in. I think we should do What Are We Drinking Now?
I'm a huge poppy girl. Like, I love poppies.
We love Poppy on here.
This one, a personal favorite of mine, the raspberry rose, or sometimes I call it raspberry rosé, just to feel something.
I am drinking a soda with a reusable straw that I got for Christmas, a straw pack, and they're all rubbery, which I love, and it's bendy, but it's a Dr. Pepper.
I'm not at all
Okay.
surprised.
Yeah, that's a vibe. Okay, I'm drinking a competitor of Poppy tonight.
Ooh, an Olipop. Ooh, how is that?
Vintage Cola is my favorite from Olipop, and Doc Pop is my favorite from Poppy. So I have my flavors I like from each. I think they're both good.
Always wanted to like get literally every flavor of Poppy and like definitively rank them
Oh my gosh.
for myself.
Can we just do that? I'll do that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like
Wait,
it would be so fun because I have ones that are like I every time I drink them I'm like, oh, that one is so good. Like this one is so good.
It's
have
so
you had the berry one, the wild berry
I've
one?
never had the wild
No,
berry
I
one.
like
The
wild
wild
berry.
berry one flavor is insane. Like it is so flavorful. But yeah, they're just so good. Also, they have merch right now. They have like a full line of like Poppy merch at Target. I had a girl come into class and she was wearing a sweatsuit and it was really cool. It had like a bunch of like these different like drink logos down the side, and then the front of the like sweatshirt was really cool too. It was like this beige color. And I got
What?
closer and was like, oh, my God. I go, sister, is this a poppy sweatsuit? Like, how did you get this? She goes, yeah, I bought it at Target. And I was like,
bro, that's crazy.
Literal next day, another girl comes in wearing another poppy merch. And I was like, so guess we just gotta run.
Okay, I want to switch it up because we've been talking so much about like high school and middle school.
Yeah,
is
I
what
mean,
I'm trying to
that's
say.
my entire life.
Which is your entire freaking life. And we'll probably keep talking about it. But like, you have so many other things going on theater related. I would say you're like a theater guru over here. You've got so much. I guess I want to go into the podcast you started because
I do too.
You and Ty started this, and I guess our big question is, what was the reason for starting this?
Well, as two theater educators, I think we really saw a market for ourselves to have conversations on a public platform that we're already having all the time. And really wanting to make it like theater education forward. We're not just talking about Broadway gossip. Of course we talk about that sometimes, but like we're actually trying to talk about things that are relevant in the theater education world, whether that's middle school, whether that's high school, whether that's for kids pursuing it in the collegiate level, in the professional level. Really just trying to use our knowledge to, one, talk about things that we like to talk about. Two, like I said, making those conversations public so that our depth of knowledge that we are constantly, dipping into and trying to continue to fill and whatever it is able to be shared with others, because that's the best thing about the performing arts is it's just a way for us to kind of explore different things that we're interested in, or do fun little nerdy theater history episodes, or talk about different shows that we're seeing. Yeah, it's been a fun way, like I said, to have the conversations that we're already having, but for people then to listen to and relate to or reflect on or whatever it is. So,
well, I also love that you guys have this podcast, because if you do listen to it, everything that Kira just said obviously is in their show. But I was thinking about it that there are so many careers that are not touched on in the theater world. I think theater educators being one of them. So I really like that your guys' podcast, yes, fills that niche that you're talking about, but also for kids that maybe don't want to do any of those other things can look up to. I think that's really rare. Like I don't know any other theater education podcast, I mean, I'm obviously biased that yours is the best. So
thank you.
If you could describe theater thoughts in 3 words, it could be a phrase or 3 separate words, what would it be?
In our intro thing, we always just say, always talking about all things theater education and the performing arts. Also thinking about the name, we kind of wanted it to be like a play on words, right? Where obviously we have these thoughts about theater and all the things that we're saying and doing and creating. Yeah. But then also we are big old sluts for theater. Like I spread my legs for theater. Like I just
Yoo-hoo!
like nothing makes me sluttier than like getting to talk about Jeremy Jordan's perfect rendition of Santa Fe. Like
don't even.
Like I like I'm
it just does something.
If you're a theater kid, you just know the feeling. Like it just
I'm actually experiencing that right now.
Yeah, no, like
as you're talking about it.
You said it and I was like, stop talking.
I'm having a baby girl moment, you know.
Like everyone's a little slutty.
I go, I'm hard, and you go, I'm baby girl.
No, that's great. So you guys are rocking and rolling. Like I've been listening to it, and you just wrapped up season 2, which is right.
3.
Am I correct? Three. Sorry, 3. Season 3.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. So that's crazy. Are you guys gonna keep it going? Is
it
okay?
We will be back for season 4. And really, I think the thing that we've found over the last couple of years is like, obviously we're 2 big yappers, but just like this conversation now, the thing that we're finding we're most fulfilled by is being able to, again, expand into that theater community and dig deeper into other people's depths and pools of knowledge. So I think that's something that we're really trying to push forward in this next season, is just talking to other theater people.
Love that.
Because those conversations are so enriching for, I think, all parties, and hopefully then for people who are listening. So, yeah.
I also want to note that Kira has a co-host, Ty Etherton, and he is amazing. And he is a high school theater teacher. Kira is a middle schooler teacher right now. So there is some great variety on their thoughts because obviously it's different age groups. Move this as you want. But they also are part of Front Range theater communities, so they get to work together as well beyond just being two theater educators.
Please go check out their podcast. It is wildly fulfilling. I mean, I would say even if you are not a theater kid, but you're envious of that life, it's so easy to jump in because you and Ty's dynamic is phenomenal, and you just make it like a really welcoming space. And like, low-key, I wish I had that podcast when I was in middle school or high school because I was craving stuff like you were saying, Parrish, outside of what my high school teacher was feeding me. I was like, where else can I get this knowledge, you know?
Yeah.
So really cool you're doing that. And
thank you.
I'm just like, it's so cool. So yeah. But going to what Parrish was saying, like you and Ty work for Front Range Theater Company. You are choreographing and directing shows there. It is a community theater-based program. Is that the best way to describe it?
Primarily educational theater. Still
educational
really,
theater. Okay.
Like student focused, but we have dabbled in the community theater arena, and I think that's again something that will probably continue to, expand in whatever.
Yeah.
But the Denver theater community is so strong. We have an incredible community and base of students, but we are not the only ones. Like our Denver metro area and even statewide, like every time I go to the Colorado Thespian Convention, I'm always just like, damn, our state keeps raising the bar. Like we are
so cool.
Turning out some incredible performers and technicians and just theater contributors in our state, which is really, really, really cool.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I have met a lot of people who don't even know what Thescon is.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to people who have never heard of that? Because it's a big thing to us.
Yes. Right? Yeah. I mean, just as any other like business or group of people would have a conference, Thescon is a convention specifically designed for theater students. So we're not dealing with professionals. We are dealing with middle schoolers and high schools. It's really designed to, one, give students performing opportunities. So, there's that element of it being like competition, so to say, but not really. Mostly kind of like performing for people and getting feedback. That is like really at its core. But like, of course, when you're in high school and middle school, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm competing because I want to get superiors. Like I want to brag. I want the scores. I want to get main stage. But really, it's performing so that you get performance feedback, because on things like monologues or scenes or songs or duets, whatever it is, the only people that you're getting feedback from at the high school level is your teacher. So the awesome thing about Thescon and being able to take those competition pieces and perform them for other theater professionals to give you feedback is it's a new set of eyes. You are getting totally different feedback than you're probably getting from your teacher at school. Or you're hearing the same things and then you're like, damn, my teacher was right. I really do need to work on that thing.
Yeah. They were right.
But for middle schoolers, it's only a day. And then if you're not competing, you're going to workshops in the areas of like dance or acting or improvisation or, technical theater. And learning from professionals. And then if you're at the high school level, it's expanded into that full 3-day experience where they let kids sleep in hotels downtown. And
bad idea.
Yeah, like I think back to some of the shit that was going on at Thescon when I was in high school.
Don't even get me started.
And I literally, that is one of the things that I am like, damn, do I really want to be a high school theater teacher? Because that experience sounds terrifying.
Dude, so terrifying.
Yeah.
When I was dating women, my first kiss with the girl I was dating in the hotel hallway.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, in the lobby. And not the lobby, the hallway. And
wait, how did I not fucking know that?
Who was in the room with me?
All right, well, use a code name if you're going to say it.
Okay. Have you seen that? Okay. I was in the room with
the
1, 2, 3, 4. The Bergen?
Knew that's what you were gonna say, you asshole.
And then the girls here, I think you were in the room. Maybe you weren't.
I got annexed. I didn't get to be with the cool people. I
thought you were.
But I think I was in the room. I forgot.
But honestly, it ended up being kind of nice to be away from all the drama. I was
there
unbothered.
was so much There was so much drama. Like, genuinely, I think Thescon is so cool, and I feel bad for
Great
people who didn't
resource.
get to experience it because it was amazing. Like, I feel like
The collective joy, like
Oh.
in
Yeah.
the room that first night is insane.
a concert times a million.
It's insane.
Genuinely.
Like you can just feel that room humming with
I
like
got chills.
I have chills.
Yeah.
I said I have chills.
and like are people getting pregnant down in the mosh pit at the front dancing to like
Yes.
Poker Face by Lady Gaga? Yes. Also, like when the lights dim and everyone returns to their seats and everyone's like back in it and you're like, okay, this is happening. We're all here
Yeah.
in the same space together. Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool.
I also think it's cool for those that are listening. It's called thespian because thespian is an actor and actress or relating to theater. And
Mhm.
Colorado has a pretty big conference. I think Dallas has one. It's
Mhm.
not in every state, which I think is really
No.
cool. I know it's expanding more, but it is not in every state. So again, going back to that Denver community, Denver is very fortunate to have this and have
Yeah.
such a great, strong convention for these kids.
You know what's so great now about the Denver theater community? Do you remember when like we would like actually like Twitter beef with other schools? And like
yeah.
yeah, we were literally like starting like Twitter fights over
Yeah.
whose production of whatever was better. And the narrative and the community has totally changed over the last 10 years. And like the kids go to see each other's shows. But yeah, it's just so cool to see that culture have totally shifted since we got out of school. As it
Love
should
that.
be.
So has Theater Kid energy also changed then?
That's a good
know what I
question.
mean?
I mean, Theater
I know
Kid
what you mean.
Theater Kid has always been a spectrum, right?
Right.
like you look at the three of us and you're like, yeah, I
Yeah, Yeah.
know they're a theater kid. But also there are other people out and about in the world where like you're like, damn, there goes a theater kid. Like the fedora wearers of the world. I think theater kids are always gonna be what they are. But I think they're always gonna change with the times. Like the theater kids that we were around and the styles and the songs that we were singing and the, you know, clothes we were wearing, the shows that we were hyper fixating on may be slightly different now than they were then, but like the practice
Yeah.
of being a theater kid is not changed at all.
Yeah. You know what I thought was funny? Growing up in theater, right? Like you know the theater kid. Like you know the
Mhm.
traditional theater kid. When
Yeah.
I got to college and met theater people that were like my classmates, I was like, all these people are so fucking cool and so fucking hot. I mean, I guess that's also being like a horny college kid, but you know, obviously high school's not like that. Like, or you're trying to figure it out or whatever. I don't know. It was just different, you know, obviously different people coming from
Yeah.
different places, but none of them fit that stereotypical appearance of a theater kid, I guess is what I'm getting at, you know?
But then you
Yeah.
watched them like talk and interact with each other and you were like, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
Yeah.
it
And then
is.
I'm like, oh, you're a fucking
And
theater nerd.
Then they know all the words to a Hamilton song, and you're like, okay,
Yeah,
got
they
it.
don't miss a
Done.
beat.
They don't miss a beat. As you age, theater kids actually become like the topic of
The
conversation. Like
coolest
they are the
people.
it people, genuinely.
Theater kid white boy of the month right now, or actually he's been white boy of the years. Timothy Chalamet, like
Yeah.
brother,
Oh, honey, yes.
Yeah.
like that man is a theater kid. You cannot look at him and deny it. Like
You cannot.
it's just in his DNA.
Because do you remember, like, when we grew up, it's like there was, like, a few cool boys, right? Like, we were like, ooh, like, they're kind of cool. They're kind of edgy. Like,
Yeah.
how are they in theater? But they were sleeping with all of the girls. So it's like, you know, you had, like, 3 to pick from. But, like, there was only, like, 3 guys. So it's like most of us were like, oh, my God, disgusting. Like,
And
we
everyone
don't
else
need
is
that.
gay.
They haven't come out yet.
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a testament to that.
Isn't that? But it is kind of funny. Talking about theater kid energy, do you miss acting? Because you do so much teaching, directing, choreographing, like you are leading the show rather than
Yeah.
being in it.
I mean, I think I've been in that role for so long that it just feels like that's where I should be. When I was in a show a couple years ago, when I came out of retirement for a brief moment,
Came out of retirement. We've all been in performance retirement. We've all come out of it. We get it.
it was really fun. It was super fun to get to do that, but also like a little nerve-wracking But like it again, I got to exercise muscles that I hadn't used in a while, and kind of put myself in that space that I know my kids are in every day. So that was kind of fun in the sense of being like, yeah, this is what it's like to do this, and this is really enjoyable. But it's not like I'm watching, or choreographing something and I'm like, oh man, I wish I was doing this. Most of the time I'm perfectly content and fulfilled where I am on the other side.
Love that. And how cool for your students, because I think you had a couple come see the show, to watch you actually be doing it. It's kind of like put your money where your mouth is. And that's how I felt when I was going to school as well. I was like, I wish my professors, and that's more college and in high school, teachers were doing theater. I just think it's so cool that, this person that's teaching you for a possible future career, because it starts in middle school. It starts even younger than that, truly, is able to actively do it. And she can put her money where her mouth is. Like, I'm not just the educator. I am the performer too. I can do it.
Yeah.
And I'll fucking do it better
really cool.
than anybody most of the time too.
Yeah, but I do get that role. Like, I get where you're coming from, not feeling like that's your space. And I don't think people realize this, but you remember your high school or middle school theater teacher. Like, and a lot of celebrities and people, they'll always talk about their high school, middle school theater teacher, because that's how much of an impact they had on them growing up. And I do think that is honestly more impactful than being on Broadway sometimes. Like,
I agree. I fully agree with you.
I like doing what I do. And to get to see kids, doing something that you've created, or seeing the firing of those, steps in their head, and then seeing them perform it, and you're like, yeah, you can do it. And you look good doing it. Or whenever they have like little character discoveries or things like that. Oh, Miss Sweeney, like, I think my character would do this. Yes, that's a fantastic idea. Do it. It's so cool to get to like be the one to encourage those things and or help inspire or teach those things or whatever it is. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to ask the two of you, both of you, as you mentioned in your previous episode, have stepped away from theater. It's, again, obviously a huge part of who you are. As someone who is constantly thinking about, the theater education world and what we can take from it into being a performer or into other avenues of our life, what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned from theater that you still carry with you to this day?
Can I say first that you are obviously a podcast host, because she has now turned this podcast, our podcast, into interviewing us, and that is a podcaster. Wow. Amazing. That is a wild question. Do you want to go first, Parrish, or do you want me?
The first thing that comes to my head is I'm in obviously the corporate world now, and I have to present to a lot of different people over different subjects. Like, I work in sales, and so when I don't win a deal, I'm like, that sucks, but on to the next. And I've kind of carried that with everything. And even when I was doing theater full time in New York, it's the same thing. Like, I didn't get that investor. Damn. Oh, now I'm not getting this Broadway credit. That blows. But what's next? Like, we got to get over it. I also think it's just a great reminder to never be afraid to take the creative choice. You take these huge choices and different things you do when you're in rehearsals and you're throwing yourself out there, and maybe you look like a fool. Maybe it's the best choice you ever make. And so I think it's just like, do the choice. Just do it. You're not going to know if it works until you do it. So.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I love that so much. And to play on that, like, I feel like I've taken it in my life in that way as well. It's been a very yes and situation for me, a very improv yes and, where it's like every time something happens in my life, I say yes and I follow it until I want to follow something else.
Yeah.
And so making those decisions in my life, when I get bored and I feel like I'm stuck, I always remember there's other options. And I can take those options because I believe in myself. And that's definitely what theater teaches you, is just to be brave. And it's a scary, big world. And to be vulnerable and be like, I don't know what's next. I have been able to be like, that's awesome. I have a million options. What am I going to do? I can go a million ways right now. Yeah. This is cool. And that's less frightening than being like, I have so much anxiety. I don't know what to do next. And also, biggest thing for me is just being able to be really silly. I think it honestly makes you live longer and enjoy your life more, to be silly and vulnerable with people around you and always surround yourself by those people.
I agree.
Yeah. We've gotten to be silly together and grown so much, and we're such different people now. but at the same time we get together and it's like disgustingly fun.
Disgustingly fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no friends like your theater friends. So hold them fucking close.
Agreed. I think even some of my strongest friendships now, like we're saying, the three of us.
You know what I wanted to ask you? Like, I've been wanting to ask it this whole time because we've just been talking so much about this theater stuff. And I don't even honestly know if our entire audience is theater people. But what would you say to somebody who like isn't in the theater world, but kind of wishes they had kind of what we're talking about right now? Like, how could they get that now, essentially? Because it's kind of hard. They can't go back and experience the theater kid life, but
I mean, I think the cool thing about theater is that everyone can be a supporter of the arts. You don't have to have that history, that lore with it. I mean, to be a true theater kid, you do, right? But
You do.
But number one thing you can do is, like I said, be a supporter of the arts. Go see theater, like whether that is at your local middle school or high school or regional theaters or the Broadway touring companies, or even being like, I'm going to fully commit and I'm going to go to Broadway and I'm going to see the shows that I'm dying to see, right? I think that is one way you can kind of touch grass in the theater world, so to say, is just like going to see a show, right?
Yeah, go see it.
Like you
Go
just
do
have
it.
to
Go
go, you have
experience.
to go see it. But also, as we were saying, there are so many amazing theater education programs in our state. I know for a fact. I'm sure across the country, there is no doubt in my mind that, like, regardless of whatever your closest major city is, there's probably a opportunity for you to, let's say you wanted to do improv. There's probably an improv class, or you're like, you know what, I used to be a dancer and I really miss that piece of myself. Go take a dance class. Like, there are so many, I think, ways that as someone who's maybe hungering for that creative expression and, like I said, community, there are ways to find that.
Yeah. Well
Yeah.
said.
Thanks.
Well
said.
said. Also, give it up when you go see these theater productions, the biggest round of applause, because they are busting their butt. You know, the commitment these kids even put in, it is crazy. They're putting in hours the way sports kids put hours in for practice and games, and then some. You know, there's memorization, there's voice lessons, there's dance lessons, there's acting lessons, there's headshots they have to get, there's websites they have to build, there's summer programs and summer auditions, and there's seasons for all this shit, and not just kids, for everyone. So when you go support live theater, be on your feet. I don't care how bad the show is. I don't care how bad it is. Those people have busted their butts, dude. And I think that's something a lot of people don't look at, right? Because you go see a movie, you're like, wow, that movie's filmed, it was amazing. That movie took 1.5 years to even get in production, maybe, you know, or longer, you know, and those actors have been in rehearsals. So go support and scream at the top of your fucking lungs.
Even for the lower shows, like not Broadway, like,
middle school, like,
Yeah.
be on your feet, not because they're kids, because they're people who worked really hard.
Yeah, and it's like you see the like funny videos online of like middle school performances because inevitably it's fucking hilarious. Like kids forget their lines, the costumes are hilarious, the set's kind of subpar. To be in it as a middle schooler, you think you're putting on a Broadway performance.
You do, and it's
so like
fun.
you
It's
think
so
your
magical.
set is top notch. You think your costume's the best thing that's ever been sewed. Like your vocals are amazing. Everybody's great at acting. It's special to be a part of that because
Very special.
someone said this actually at my audition. I said, what do you like about theater most? And she was like, the thing I love about live theater is that performance, that exact performance will only happen once.
Yes.
And that is really fucking cool.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
That's always something that I like to remind the kids of, is like, this exact production with this group of people will not exist ever again.
Yeah. Every night is different.
There's going to be another Annie somewhere, but there's not our Annie, right?
There's not our Annie. That is so special. Do you guys do like show meetings? I remember we used to do those.
Yeah.
What are those like?
That's a theater staple. I mean, it's always like the classic, like, little, you know, talk. You guys were, you know, you've worked so hard for this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like some kind of like squeeze of energy. That's a classic.
I love that one. That one's so fun.
And then some kind of like pump up, yell, scream, get the team ready,
get the vibes
to go out on stage. Yeah,
I love that.
That is so special. Those are special.
We go bananas, and the kids love it. It's
God,
their favorite
going
thing.
bananas. Oh
Yeah.
my God, dude.
Yeah.
I'd
Go
forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Bananas. Go.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Kira, what is next? What's next? What is currently going on that you're excited about? And what is next that you are excited about?
Well, I'm currently simultaneously working on 2 different productions. I'm doing Annie, as we've discussed, at my school, and then I'm also helping choreograph a production of Seussical.
So second part of that question is, what are your like goals, aspirations? Like, what are
Yeah.
you looking forward to?
I feel so lucky that a lot of my closest collaborators are my friends, but I've never had to work with other people outside of people that I like deeply know and trust. So I think it would be really interesting to go somewhere else and work with other people and see how that, like what that experience can teach me, what I can gain from that experience. I think that's something that I'm like thinking about for sure, is being like, well, if I don't take, my specific like placement, my career, where I go every day for work to the next level, how can I maybe see what other opportunities are out there and where else I can lend my time and talents. So yeah.
Sweet, dude. I love
Freaking
that.
amazing. Freaking amazing. You amaze me. This girl works her butt off. It's
Truly.
crazy. We're going to rapid fire some questions off to you. And it's just first thing that comes to mind. Don't take too long to think about it. As fast as you can. We want the people to know she's got a lot of texture to her besides
This is
being
her-
Theta. You know what I'm
This is her
saying?
improv skills.
These
Yeah.
are improv skills. All right, ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Podcast you're obsessed with at the moment.
My favorite podcast of all time is the podcast Normal Gossip. It is everything.
Great. What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Why is Bigfoot a thing? Like, why do we hyper fixate on that? Like, what is up with that? Like, I don't get it. But like, it's
Love that.
fascinating because I don't get it, you know?
Yes. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Just reminding yourself that like you're enough and you're capable of every opportunity that you are being given or even giving to others. You're enough, you're capable, and you got this.
I love that. I love that.
Love that. Favorite musical?
I think that if you're a true theater kid, you don't have a singular favorite musical. And if you say you have a singular
Agreed.
favorite musical, you're lying. I would say my current hyperfixation, for obvious reasons, is Wicked.
If you could give every person one book to read, what would the book be?
This is such a tough question, but I think that the best book I've ever read in recent years, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevlin. I've never, experienced the true authenticity of like friendship written in that way. So I just think that is a book that everyone, especially people in their 20s, should read.
Cool.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a song you never get sick of.
And it can't be
Ooh.
Cold 45.
I will never apologize for liking that song. Literally anything off of Folklore. Like,
Yes.
mostly the one, like the title
Mhm.
track. I think it's just because it was the first thing I ever heard on that album.
This is not on the list, but let me ask it because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
What season is the Folklore album?
Okay, the first place I ever heard it and when it was dropped was in the summer in Cape Cod. And so that album is a beachy, but also I'm thinking like coastal. So you still have the tall trees and like that is a coastal summer album.
Guilty pleasure.
My guilty pleasure.
Say it.
This is going to expose me in so many ways. I love popping my pimples. Like, I love my pimples.
That is not where I thought you were going.
That is my guilty pleasure. Like, I shouldn't be doing it. I've told myself for literally years and years and years, but there is nothing more satisfying to me than popping a pimple.
Wow. Okay. Talie or Parrish?
I can't answer that question.
By the way, listeners, that was not on the list of questions we have. Okay.
Gun to head, I would get shot. I would literally
Sweet.
get shot.
Thank
Love
God.
that. Okay. Childhood celebrity crush?
Nick Jonas. I literally have a prayer candle that Beth got me for Christmas of him. And to put the icing on the cake, Parrish and I get to go see him in the last 5 years in April, and I am creaming my chonies.
So like
Creaming my chonies.
Yes, queen. Jesus Christ.
I mean, me as well. Okay, this goes along with that one. Current celebrity crush.
Also Nick Jonas. Like,
Okay, that's
if
what I
it's
thought.
not broke, don't fix it, girl. Like, it's still working.
Okay, what is at the top of your bucket list?
I wanna go to Greece and live the full Mamma Mia fantasy.
Yeah, perfect. If you were an influencer, what would you influence people about?
I think we all know I'd be a fitness influencer.
Okay, this is going to be an ending question because I think our podcast is pretty focused on this.
Yes.
Why is friendship important to you? And why should it be important to everyone?
I love that. As human beings, I think that all of the relationships we have are very special. I think friendship is so important because it is that found family. It's those people outside of your blood that you see and you're like, I see you and you see me in a way that I can't be seen by other people. And that's really special. And I think the best friendships that we have are the ones that push us outside of our comfort zone, but also become our safest, most comfortable place. Getting to grow up and see the next milestones with each other. Like, those relationships are so special. That ability to like grow and adapt and change with one another because you saw them for their most authentic self to begin with. And I also, if you ask me, our first experience with love is familial, but your second, like when the first time you fall in love is with your best friends, 1000%.
It's totally a love feeling where it's like, you just know when you've met people that just mean so much to you. And I'm very grateful to have you both in my life. I know that Kira, you're definitely going to come back on this podcast at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably
I would love
sooner
to.
rather than later.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just loved having you here. And you're,
seriously.
yeah, love you so much.
No, literally.
You guys
We need
so
to do more like
much.
this. I love this.
It's like I said, it's those like connections. Like, I can take, like at the beginning, I can take all those like technical skills that I've learned from theater. I can take all those away from me, but like the things that you're gonna take away with you the most are the memories and the people.
Agreed.
And so it's so, like I said, it's so cool that we've gotten to, be with each other from that early formative time, to have lived all these lives, to have had moments where, I know you guys talked about it last week, where maybe you don't talk all the time and you've pulled apart a little bit, but like ultimately, like your people are always going to be there for you, and they're always going to, it's the whole theme of your podcast is keeping in touch in whatever way you need those people to be available for you. They're going to be available for you.
Well, you guys, this was so effing cool. I'm so glad we got to chat all things theater. And like Talie said earlier, please go listen and follow Theater Thoughts. Sign your kid up for Front Range Theater Company if you live in the Denver area for summer camps. Go support live theater, support your theater educators. But until next time, I think we should keep in touch. Let's keep in touch.
Let's keep in touch. Bye, Kira Sweeney.
Bye, Kira.
We love you.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this week's episode. As always, follow us on social media, and surprise, our website is live, the HQ for all things Let's Keep in Touch. Go visit it at www.letskeepintouchpodcast.com.
If you would like to keep in touch with Kira Sweeney and what she's doing next, you can follow her Theater Thoughts podcast at Theater Podcast on Instagram, or go listen to them now on Spotify.